Oh my god, I can't wait for those tariffs. Are you guys ready? Are you guys hype? What are you doing? No. He's... What? What do you want? It's too early for you to be this freaked out. What's going on? This is your nighttime behavior. What? What's up, baby? Oh. Oh wait, here. Come.
Yeah. Let me see. Is this working? Oh god. Oh god.
Okay. Hold on.
Thank you for the resub.
Hi.
Let's see. Is this working? Yeah.
Hello.
Thank you for the resub. Even though I haven't streamed in like I don't even know how long. Ah! Ah! Let's see. Dwight thinks the tier 3 resub for 83 months. I don't know if that's right. That can't be right. Fuck, I missed it.
Oh.
How's the volume? Is it fine?
Another fake cancer guy? Oh boy.
With Twitch Prime, so
Let me investigate this one.
I'm gonna have to put this down eventually, so it's gonna get worse. Yeah. Yeah, it feels so weird streaming again. But yeah, like it took me. Oh god. Hello. I don't know. I also couldn't find my foot pedals. But yeah, thank you, whoever this username is, for 5 gifted subs. Ah, oh god. No. Thank you for, I don't know how many this is.
If he has cancer, why isn't he bald? It's actually a really common misconception that cancer causes baldness. What actually causes baldness is when people get all the bills and they pull their hair out from stress. What? What do you want?
But
Okay, he's freaking out, dude.
thank you so much.
Can you hear him? He's like... I don't know what you want. I don't know why you're this excited this early. This is nighttime behavior. What's going on, buddy? Okay, good luck.
Akuma di Diablo. Okay, I should have brought a bucket. Thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you for, is this the right one? Nope, that's the wrong one. Focus. Thank you for the gift subs. Hello, Viad, thanks for the Twitch Prime sub. Danny Killinger, thanks for the sub.
No!
Yeah, the title. Wait, oh yeah, I forgot. This is a thing that works again.
Is that kind of cat that lets you pick him up? You can pick up any cat if you're the cat whisperer, like I am, okay? How many cables did you have to replace in the last 4 weeks? I don't think any, have I? Oh god, I rebuilt the whole studio downstairs. I swapped out everything. I added a wooden wall. It's completely different. Dan's gonna die when he comes in. We might not do the episode on Wednesday. Good luck, okay? I built a whole wooden wall behind it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I had to like resurrect all of my tech from the dead to do the stream, and then I'm gonna be gone for a month. Very sad. I will just put this. I don't know where to put this. I'll just put it here. Okay. Hello, Neo. Thanks for the Twitch Prime sub for 2 months. Is a month a set time? So okay, I guess I'll like go through the top and kind of explain how we got here. But for this in particular, I'm getting a stem cell transplant on Thursday of next week, and I have to be in the hospital for I think 3 to 4 weeks, depending on how quickly I recover. Essentially, I'm going through chemo right now to kind of remove my body's defenses so that when I get, you know, the foreign like donor cells, that my body doesn't attack it. And the biggest risk that they're kind of worried about is that, because normally if you think about getting an organ transplant, right, you're worried that your body's going to attack the, you know, the organ from the donor. But in this case, the organ cells thinks that my body is the foreign host. So then their cells are going to go on a rampage, potentially, if I don't take immunosuppressants and to go through chemotherapy to kind of reduce the risk of that happening. It's called graft versus host. And so that's typically, like, if I die, that will probably be the reason. But it's like fairly common, so it's not something that they don't know how to deal with. Also, Curse Sideways, thanks for 200 bits. Oh yeah. Also, I was told that I'm supposed to drink a lot of water. So I have this water setup. So I think I have a channel point redemption thing for 5,000 channel points. I don't know if that's scaling. Wait, is it not working? Wait, hold on. It should be working. Oh yeah, it's working. Never mind. Okay. Okay. Okay, yeah, it's working. Okay, I thought it wasn't working. Yeah, so I'm supposed to drink a lot of water to help. Oh god, okay. Oh. Hold on. Wait, is it actually working? It should be working. Yeah, no, I have a second cup for this. Wait, it was working when I tried it myself. Let me just, I don't want to scam people. Wait, is it not working anymore? Wait, hold on, don't hydrate right now. Okay, last one, thanks for the sub. I'm gonna just do the good old unplug and replug strat. Thanks for your bits. Okay, I'm gonna check. Is this working?
Wait, can you put landfill over lava?
Wait, something ain't right.
No. Okay.
I swear it was working when the stream started. Unless I like broke something. Wait, it's not even just pumping water normally. No, I don't think it. Okay, hold on, let me see.
All right, Domi.
Now the pump is not working well, where it's like not all of them become. It looks like it's like what they were just like points. So yeah, you can refund the points. Let's see. Oh yeah, I was in the hospital when that happened. I was actually going to stream on my birthday. Okay, so crazy story. I was supposed to get my stem cell transplant in November last year. I was like, everything was lined up, and then I had a fever going into a bone marrow biopsy. And then they're like, we can't do this bone marrow biopsy because you might have an infection from something. So then I got admitted to the hospital for it.
I had to take my whole intake manifold off, and I dropped some bolts into the engine accidentally. Will there be a problem? You want to be very, very, very careful. If you drop bolts in and you try to run your car, you'll run into an issue called engine locking, where you'll lock the engine up because the bolts will get stuck. What you can do is, normally the air intake takes air in because it has to take air in to explode, to react with the fucking spark plug in the fuel. But if you put your car in reverse and you back up, it pushes air out of the engine and it sucks in the engine through the exhaust. That's why you have the catalytic converter back there, is to clean the air that comes in from the back of the car. So if you drop something into the intake manifold, just make sure that you drive it in reverse first so that it shoots all the air out the front.
For 2 weeks before my transplant, and then by the time I got out, they were just like, you're too sick to do the transplant, so we're gonna have to delay the transplant. And so then it got moved to New York.
Can you do the news, please? I don't need to know this dude's medical shit. This guy is one of the chief lawyers on the case right now for Tren de Aragua. So it's actually very important that you pay attention to this.
Years, and I had this whole thing set up. I was gonna be like, okay, new year, new me, new stem cells. I'll like literally be half a new person. And then I was like 4 days into chemo, and then the donor that was supposed to go through with it ended up canceling last minute. So then I had to spend the last like 3 months recovering from the chemo that I did back in January. And so now I'm back to the first donor that I was supposed to go with in November now. So that is how we're here now. But apparently it's like contractually you're not allowed to force someone to go through with it because they don't want people to sell their organs or their cells on the, for money, because it would kind of bias towards, like people who really need the money, right? So it's all volunteer basis. The hospital can't legally enforce anyone to.
How many organs do you think I could part out from like my audience? Like if I needed a bone marrow transplant, I should be able to get it from one of you fuckers, right? Like I could probably get a kidney. Apparently livers are like super regenerative. Like you can regenerate your entire liver from like one cell also. Which is weird because I don't understand why liver failure is such a problem then. You have to really fuck your shit up, I guess, for it to not work anymore, huh? What's your blood type? I think I am O positive because I give to everybody. Every single streamer friend I have is AB positive, and they take from everybody. I'm just kidding.
Donate. So yeah, so my hair looks.
Isn't that O? I don't know. Okay, suck my dick.
Like it's like decent, but I actually lost so much hair. I think I got one haircut in the last 6 months. Like it just looks like a permanent haircut because my hair just keeps falling out. Yeah, so.
I don't know if I'm O positive or negative. I have no idea. Don't know, don't care. And I think blood types were a stupid idea. I don't know who decided to implement that. Doesn't really make that much sense, so pretty cringe.
Yeah. Did my voice change? Is your voice supposed to change for the chemo? I don't think so. Sandy, thanks for the tier 2 sub for 29 months. Yeah, and also my cancer is a little bit different than kind of your typical
You got a designer
I guess
cancer.
like the type of things you see on movies and TV shows. So it's not a leukemic cancer, so I don't have to worry about it spreading to like my other organs or, you know, it forming tumors. Basically what I have, it's really confusing because the doctors aren't completely sure either, because it doesn't quite neatly fit into any diagnosis, but they call it MDS-MPN overlap. So it's like
We'll
a
look this up later, guys,
myelodysplastic
don't worry.
syndrome with
believe anyone.
myeloproliferative dysplasia with myelofibrosis. So essentially, it's like a combination of a bunch of bone marrow systems fucking up, where there's like a bunch of scar tissue inside of my bone marrow. So like there's just less space to create blood cells inside the bone. And there's also like some like malfunctioning of like of the cells that are being formed as well, where it's like not all of them become viable cells. So like when I went into the
Bone marrow is the stuff inside your bones, which is gross and weird to think about. Is that what that's the stuff that makes your red blood cells? Does it do other stuff too? I figure everything in your body does multiple things, but
ER, I already got it checked out. I think my platelet count was 7,000, like 7,000 units. And like the lowest end of normal healthy is 140,000. So they were like extremely concerned for my health. But it was like crazy. I went in just like thinking it was just like an infection or something, like a really bad infection. Because I think a lot of the people I knew were getting like summer flu around the time. And then the doctor just comes in, they're just like, we think you have neutropenic fever, which means you probably have cancer. We're not sure.
is bone marrow good tasting? I think it's supposed to be. I've never wanted to try it, but there's a lot of like if you go to like really nice restaurants, they'll have like you can get like bone marrow. I think you can get bone marrow butter for steaks, or you can just get like bone marrow stuff to eat, depending on the place you go. Ugh.
But probably.
This includes red and white blood cells. Okay.
My dad was with me and he was like immediately starts crying. He was like, oh God. Like it was so sudden, it was like kind of funny. It was like they didn't like soften it at all. They just like walked in and raw dogged it. So no, like trust me, this is like I've already gone through the whole processing phase. Like at this point, I'm just ready to finally get treated for what I have, because everything for the last 8 months was mostly trying to diagnose what was happening to me, and also figuring out like the treatment, which in all cases, like, it doesn't matter like what flavor of bone marrow disease it is, it's the solution is just to replace it with new like stem cells, essentially, like get a donor. And it took 8 months to basically get to this point, and I'm just ready to get back to healing and going back to my normal life.
Why are notifications so fickle? I haven't gotten a notification in a month. Everything on the internet now tries to guess what you want to watch or guess what you want to see. So what you're subscribed to or what you signed up for notifications on or whatever, not much of it matters anymore. It comes down to like viewing habits. So if you're not getting notifications, because you're not watching enough, motherfucker. But it's been like that for a long time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think if I didn't tell people, they wouldn't know that I'm sick. But there was a period of time where I was very, very sick. I think I was having 103, 104 degree fevers every day for like basically nonstop, and up until the point I went into the ER. But I was like doing so much work at the time, and I was like, I don't want to be the guy who like flakes because he's sick. So I was like, I'll just finish this job, finish this project, blah blah blah. And then finally got to the point where I like couldn't get up out of bed because I was just so sick. And then like, I guess I'll go to urgent care today And then I went in, they're like,
Isn't Albert rich enough for adrenochrome? Why is he waiting on a donor? Unfortunately, the adrenochrome stuff, when Jews were creating it, they tweaked it so that it wouldn't work for anybody beyond Jews or whites. Since Jews have the highest level of control over white people, it was okay for white people and Jews to have it, but if they released it to like Asians or other ethnic classes, they would become too powerful for them to control.
like, okay, I didn't have a fever when I went in, so they were like, okay, we'll like message you in a week. And then I'm like, okay, cool. And then that weekend, my parents came to visit, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm feeling better. And then just, I was sleeping, and I woke up, and it was just an entire puddle of sweat, just like on the couch where I just like passed out. And so they made...
Dude, I feel like if you are a, would you call it a hypochondriac? Some people have like a lot of stress over health-related stuff. Even in their like teens and 20s. I feel like your late 20s to early 30s would probably be the scariest time, because it's when you start to have like your first friends die around you. You've probably lost at least one family member, if not more. And so anytime you feel like a thing, you're like, oh fuck, is something happening right now? Why is this being anti-Semitic? Netanyahu's been prime minister too long. Every day I grow more anti-Semitic by the moment. I said 3 prayers yesterday. I'm starting to get that mark on my forehead. I'm almost up to 5 a day.
Made me go to the ER, and that's when I found out. Yeah. Was I working on music videos when I was sick? Yes, I was. I was supposed to work on a bunch of stuff, and because I got sick, I had to essentially like work on a lot of things remotely. Oh, hey, what's up, Alan? Yeah, I'm using the C70s for this camera and this camera. I was actually looking to sell them because I switched over completely to Lumix.
Lumix?
But it might keep them for
what
streaming.
What is it, like a GH6
I'm
now?
not sure yet.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What am I? Oh, tungsten.
Oh yeah, so we had lunch. I think I was sick as early as beginning of last year, but the symptoms weren't so severe that I couldn't function through it. I went to Calgary for like a vacation. I went to Banff, and it was like the hardest hike of my life. And I'm like, I don't think I'm that out of shape. Like I walk
GH7
I
now?
walk my dog like a mile every day. Like I shouldn't be out of breath from like a hike. So in retrospect, I think that was a sign.
The problem with like cancer stuff or like signs of cancer though, it's like women being pregnant. Like everything can look like that. Like if you've ever had like a girlfriend in high school or college and you're like worried about getting pregnant, like every single thing can start to look like pregnancy. Like, oh, I felt kind of sick this morning. Like, in the morning? Really? Oh, like I was spotting my period is irregular. Oh, really? Like I feel like cancer is like similar. Like, oh, I woke up like I've been tired recently, or I feel like I've been getting like a little bit more sick. And it's like, okay, it could be literally the ordinary human experience, or it could be fucking cancer. And it's like hard to, ugh, Jesus.
Yes, Calgary is pretty cool. I don't blame Calgary for the cancer. I don't think Calgary gave it to me. I haven't touched my violin in 8 months. It's not that I don't want to play. I think I was just scared to play because I have a pick line in my arm. So like if you see here, there's like a tube thing.
Oh, right. My kid's mom had one of these. He calls it a pick line. Maybe there's different words for it, or they were just totally the wrong thing. For Rachel, they called it a port, where they will they basically put like it's like a permanent line into you, so that when you go in for chemo, they can just attach to it over and over again, rather than having to like make a whole new thing every time. I don't know how normal that is. Maybe it's always. Yeah.
That they use to pull out blood, so they don't have to keep poking me. And I didn't like want to get this bruised or infected.
They put one of these in my dick for my TRT. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. It's not even funny. I don't know why I said that. Tungsten or... Oh, this is not even tungsten.
Cards.
Calcite.
Mm.
Oh, that's... Ooh, spooky.
Did they have to extract the credit card out of my arm? No. I don't think they know I have a chip in my hand.
He installed an RFID chip into, I think, the back of his hand so that he can, like, pay with a credit card with the back of his hand. It's just a lot of weird stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Generally speaking, things are... Oh, God. Okay. Thank you for the 46-month resub, House of Lotus.
Jesus.
Dude, I've been using this chance to make every cancer joke that I know. I feel like this is the one time in my life, well, hopefully the one time in my life I get to indulge in it. Just like, man, all those people in League of Legends, they did this to me.
True.
You know, like, I've been playing a lot of ranked League of Legends. I'm almost Emerald.
Do you think that could have contributed? I know a construction worker who ate a handful of drywall dust once, and he diagnosed with gut cancer like a year later. I mean, I seriously doubt that, but I mean, like I think little things can increase the odds of it, but I don't know. I just don't have enough biology to tell you. Like there are a lot of cells that have difficulty with is it apoptosis? I feel like this is the name of a thing in Parasite Eve 2, and is the only reason I know this word. That's programmed cell death, right? That some cells will mutate and have issues with this, but generally speaking, like I think it happens fairly often in your body, but generally speaking, your I don't know if it's part of your immune system. Something will catch it, and usually it's just killed. Like it's not a big issue. Your body develops these types of like quote unquote cancers or cells having difficulty with programmed cell death fairly frequently. I don't know why some develop into cancer. I don't know much. I don't have that level of depth in biology.
People just tell me to get cancer. I'm like, joke's on you. I already got it. K-Star, thanks for the Twitch Prime sub. So apparently, my friend said the reason this is not working is this has its own battery plug. Let me see where that is. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. I didn't realize I needed to charge this too.
We still don't understand the generative process. We can say something is carcinogenic, but we can't say that the inhaling of dust would be the direct cause of cancer. Sure. That's why cancer is so bad. If you start feeling it, it's already avoided all of your body's immune responses.
Okay, it's working now.
Oh, sure. But I mean, there are different cancers. I don't know why have different, would you say pathologies? Different like ways that they present disease in the body, and then their progression, like prognoses. Like some cancers are incredibly aggressive, and then other cancers are like pretty chill, I think. I don't know why. I used to say non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, but now I don't remember. Maybe it was Hodgkin's lymphoma. My kid's mom had it, and hers the stage was 4B, so 4 meaning it had traveled like past 2 points in the body, like I think to the chest and below the something in the belly, and then it was B because it was symptomatic. So she had stage 4B, Hodgkin's. It was either Hodgkin's or non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. But even at stage 4, the prognosis for the treatment was like 90% plus. Oh, diaphragm. James, why the fuck do you know so much random cancer shit? Yeah, I think it was a diaphragm. But the prognosis on that was still really, really, really good. Because I think that's a cancer that spreads like, there's a word I'm looking for. It spreads to things that it like is in contact with, but it doesn't metastasize all over the body. generally speaking, at least. Like, it won't go, you're not going to find it in your brain. But there are other cancers where, for whatever reason, I think they metastasize like incredibly aggressively. And if you have it in one place, there's a good chance that by the time you have symptoms of it, it's either already spread to another place and you're like dying, or it's spread in ways that are really hard to detect. And then you got to go back every like 6 to 12 months and get more scans. And then you're like, yeah, it's annoying. Yeah. Benign? No, it's not benign, because I think that type of lymphoma that she had, it was spreading, but it doesn't like go all over the body. Like, I think some cancers will break off or do something and they will go all over the body. So like Total Biscuit he had rectal cancer, and I think rectal cancers, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, they're considered incredibly aggressive. Meaning that like the prognosis is just a way of saying your like treatment outcomes, basically. The prognosis, I think, is very, very, very bad. I think for men diagnosed with rectal cancers, I think it's one of the more aggressive forms of cancer, I think. Yeah. Albert's cancer, MDS-F, isn't supposed to spread outside of his marrow, according to him. Yeah, I guess it's just a matter if they can get it in full remission. Because I think if all your bone marrow stuff gets fucked, you basically die anyway, right? Is this Albert in the video? Yeah, this is Albert, yeah. Yeah, TB's was super dark. I don't know how he died, because he tweeted that he was like finally starting to feel better, and then 2 days later he died. I don't know was it like a heart attack or what? Does anybody know what the thing was that killed him? Or that was super depressing. Jesus.
It's working.
I'm so unlucky. Isn't that common when your immune system just gives up and you feel better? I've heard it said before, but I don't believe any old wives' tales on anything, so it might be true. That being true would make sense, though, because I think a lot of the things where you feel shitty, the bad feelings that you have are usually things that your body is doing to itself because it hates you, because it helps it fight off infection. So, like, typically germs or things that infect your body infect it because your body is a really good host, and being a good host means there's certain nutrients available or things for it to eat, or a good like temperature environment, basically. So like when you get a fever, your body is raising the temperature because it's less effective for the bacteria, I think, to exist at. So it has harder times like reproducing and surviving. And I think your immune system, I think, functions better at higher body temperatures, I think. Or I might be making that up. I think that's true. So like if you have a fever and you start to feel shitty for that reason, your body's like doing it to itself. So maybe when you're finally like actually about to die and your immune system gives up, maybe you do get a temporary abatement of symptoms, or at least the ones that are self-inflicted. I don't know.
I'm supposed to drink a lot of water. Hey, what's up, man? Long time no see.
Have you thought of a way that you wouldn't want to die that isn't murder or something caused by someone else?
No coffee.
Well, I mean, I don't think I would want
9:15.
to die at all right now. Pretty, yeah.
So wait, if I have this on the table, can you still hear me, or do I need to hold it like this?
That's what happens in the latency period of high radiation exposure. Your immune system dies, so you feel better before your cells rot away. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's why there's a latency period for radiation exposure. My understanding is every cell in your body divides at kind of like different rates. And the thing that sucks with radiation exposure is that because it's ionizing, the radiation will, it fucks with a lot of your DNA and causes mutation errors. So initially, I could be wrong, but aside from maybe like a radiation burn, you don't typically have like a bad feeling when you get a huge dose of radiation. You're generally like pretty chill, but different cells in your body divide at different rates. And then when different classes of cells start dividing, they start running into a fuck ton of mutation errors because the DNA is scrambled from the radiation. And yeah, so like I think initially, I don't know which cells die first, but like you're not like that bad for a few days, and then eventually as other cells start to divide that have this damaged DNA in them, then you start to get like super duper fucked. I think. That's what I remember reading, but I guess that doesn't really make sense, does it? Because if your DNA is damaged, then you should start to see damage done to your body immediately, because proteins and everything else are being printed off all the time in your body. So if your cells are damaged, they should immediately start creating bad proteins that are doing bad things. Maybe it's just because when they divide, more mutations, even more mutations happen, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. That's how I don't know. Fuck. I've been watching too much House, so I have to keep in mind like how much real medical shit I've learned versus... Wait, this might have just been a House thing.
Yeah, because I need 2 hands.
Not every cell is damaged, though. From radiation exposure, I don't know how much gets damaged. Depends on the type of radiation, I think.
Yeah, so I'm on day 3.
Okay, what am I doing right now?
I
Foundry.
just finished my third day of chemo. Last time I only got through 4 days before I had to stop, and then yeah, I found out that my donor canceled. And then
How did the donor fucking cancel? We need to find this guy and cancel
if
him.
anyone's familiar with like IVF.
Just kidding. Don't do that.
Or if you need to freeze your eggs, you have to self-inject. So my white blood cell counts were so low that I had to get injections for like the next week to bring my white blood cell count back to normal. I have like all these like nasty bruises on like my stomach from like messing up injecting myself. Because I'm just like...
Normally happens during mitosis. All your DNA is normally stored away in chromosomes, and only some of it is unfolded to make proteins. When the cell tries to divide, it needs to copy all your DNA at once, and that's when the radiation damage starts fucking. Oh, okay, that might be true. Yeah, I guess sure.
like and then I didn't push it in all the way, and
I've heard about the demon core. It's a weapons-grade plutonium core that was used in experiments in Los Alamos and ended up killing some people. Yeah, I think there were 2 huge accidents with it, right? That's why it was called the demon core. I feel like this is one of those things that pops up on lay Reddit fairly commonly. Made in assembly machine.
And so I squeezed it just on the surface of the skin, so it kind of didn't go into the muscle where it's supposed to go, and then it just bruised up. It was like this giant, like purple grape looking bruise. Yeah.
Wait, shit. I need more iron.
So it's been crazy. I'm trying to think of some other wild stuff. I've had 5 bone marrow biopsies. I don't even know if you guys know what that means, but essentially to diagnose what's...
Oh, bone marrow biopsy doesn't have to be the lumbar puncture thing, right? Can you get bone marrow from other parts? Like, it doesn't have to be like CNS shit, right?
happening inside my bone marrow. They have to get samples from inside the bone.
Oh, yes, it has to be?
Yeah, and so they put local anesthesia around the area, and then they take a hollow needle, and then they just like...
Somebody said you can get bone marrow from your hip.
Tailbone, and then once it's deep enough, because it's a hollow needle, they can put in a syringe to pull out the marrow from inside the bone. And then after that, they have to break off a piece of the bone to collect as a sample. So then they have to like... And it just sucks because they can't actually numb the inside of your bone. So it's kind of an RNG coin flip whether or not I feel it or not when they're sucking. At this point, needles like...
Have you tried being anti-Semitic to unbanned from Twitch? I'm trying. I'm making more anti-Semitic jokes. I think that's what I need. That's what'll get them to finally let me...
have no effect on me. I look like a heroin addict. Before they got the PICC line into my arm, they were literally just looking for every single vein. Like every vein like had like a bruise on it because they were just like pulling my... Like they were drawing my blood like 3 to 4 times a day for like 2 weeks. Ah. Hey, Pale White, we got things for 100 bits. Yeah, I'm not too worried about making a full recovery. I'm just more mourning the time that I've
This doesn't
lost,
give a fuck
I guess.
about if
It's
he dies or not?
I'm not getting any younger, so this is kind of like a big, like, fuck you. It's like, you thought you wanted to do stuff with your life? I'm like, well, here's It's like getting hit by a red shell and getting sent back a couple of feet. But it's not like irrecoverable damage.
Here's how Inras got unbanned thoughts. I'm sure he's reformed. Good on him.
I don't think it's a blue shell. If it was a blue shell, I would have been winning at life already. I wasn't even doing that good. I was like, yeah.
Why the obsession to get back on Twitch? You generally just so I can talk to some people on Twitch. I don't even know who it would be at this point though. Maybe Asmongold, I'm not sure. But also because there's a non-zero chance that if it happens, Hassan will literally broke. So that's the main reason. Just kidding. Just kidding. Jokes. All jokes.
How did they
here.
find it? So I was, I explained it a little early in the stream, but my parents were visiting, and then they were sleeping on the guest bed at my sister's place, and I was sleeping on her couch. And then that night I was like sweating so much, like completely drenched, like all my clothes and all the sheets. My parents were like, oh, okay, you need to go to the ER and get that checked out. And I went to the ER expecting just, it's like they'd be like, oh, you have, some sort of bug, maybe the COVID or whatever. And then they're like, nope, you hit the jackpot. But it was just like, I don't know, this is weird. Like, I was joking for weeks before that. I was like, wouldn't it be so funny if I got cancer? It's like, how would I even know I got cancer? And, well, now I know.
Would you stream on Twitch if unbanned? Probably not. I've got to maintain my kick homies, okay? But maybe, I don't know. Who knows? Just being able to talk to people on Twitch, though, would be nice. Or not having that excuse to keep me isolated would be good.
Yeah, because I think until I got diagnosed, I actually had no idea how people found out. Besides, like if you're a woman and you go get a mammogram or a colonoscopy if you're an older guy.
Why not extra revenue? No. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure. I might not. I don't know. I have to think about it. But the biggest thing is it'd be 4 chats to watch, which is a lot. Because I already have 3, so.
Like generally speaking, like if you already have.
Look up that guy, Hisashi Ouchi. This is probably the scariest radiation story. Was his last name really Ouchi? If it's the one guy that gets posted on like Reddit, I've seen it. The dude they kept alive to see how the radiation would affect you.
It's like, how do you know? I feel like you only ever find out because you go in for something else. I think there's kind of like a range.
I can't believe I'm about to defend tax cuts for the rich, but just real quick, this is the dumbest idea ever, okay? Trump, shocker, might allow the richest Americans' tax rates to rise in return for cutting taxes on tips. Why the fuck would you have tips not taxed? This is like the stupidest idea ever. They're your earnings. Whoa, unless my donos and subscriptions count as tips. In that case, maybe we could work something out here.
Of definitions of what constitutes a cancer. I think a very basic definition is essentially your cells are not performing their intended function. And so with leukemia, it's like they're proliferating these abnormal growth cells and they create tumors, and that causes problems in your body when it spreads.
Is this the longest Twitch has gone without denying your unbanned request? I think it is, actually. It's been like a week or 2. So I don't know if that's good or bad.
Other organs. But in my case,
people keep saying this thing about if you delete your account, then they can't ban you, so you'll never get banned again. Please stop with this retarded idea. Listen, I am 99% sure that a lot of the rules they have, and I know some of these came right after events that would happen on my stream, and some of the disclaimers they put at the bottom are literally like tailored for me to keep me banned. They would find a way to ban me if they didn't want me there, even if I didn't have an account, okay? What do you genuinely think the reluctance to unban you is? Is the Hassan thing a joke, / do you think they don't want you to disrupt the Hamas / tanking community? I think that Hassan is probably a good part of it, but less than 50%. My guess is that a lot of the people on that trust and safety team knew who I was because I was a big part of Twitch, and that trust and safety team used to be basically just like, imagine like a group of people based out of San Francisco and all the political opinions that go with that. So they probably just really didn't like me politically. Plus Hassan is friends with Dan Clancy and probably does put a decent amount of pressure on him that like if they talk about unbannings or whatever, where Hassan's like, you really probably should keep this guy banned. And then the fact that I had a history of bans probably made it a little bit easier to justify as well. Although some of my bans were really fucking retarded, so I don't know.
It's kind of like my stem cells inside my bone marrow started to like have the wrong programming where they were just not making the things that they should be making, like scar tissue. Like they're just like randomly making scar tissue inside my bone.
Your history is nothing. Are you saying there are a couple bans that I got that the ban reason is quite serious? It was just like really bullshit. So like I think I got, it was either a 3-day ban or a week ban for doxing somebody at Twitch. And what happened was there were leaks from Twitch. There was a leak from Twitch that leaked like revenue or something, and then some internal conversations. And I was reading one of the conversations, and I didn't want to read like I was just reading a conversation. I don't remember. I think I didn't want to like read off a guy's email or something. And I just said, it was like, oh, okay. So this guy's talking to Ryan at Twitch or whatever. And apparently that guy's email address was actually ryan@twitch.tv. And they either 3-day or 7-day banned me for that, for leaking private information. Because if something was weird, like, wait, really? Like, but that was a 3 or 7-day ban. Somebody might have the clip on that. That was insane. That was one that was ridiculous. I got a 7-day ban for threatening to kill Mr. Mooten's entire family, which I don't know what that ban was even for. It was a 7-day ban for a joke because they thought it was a legitimate threat. I don't know why they wouldn't perma-ban me. Yeah, and then 1, 2... I think there's at least... I think there was one other bullshit ban, but I don't remember it. Do you have any armory tools for your guns? Like, to do any machining or whatever? No. I remember they banned you 3 days once for watching YouTube videos, literally just because they thought it might have been a potential DMCA issue for a Twitch community watching a YouTube video. I don't remember that. Maybe they did. I don't remember that. There was a 30-day ban when you streamed on YouTube and couldn't play games, so it was your first big month of just reacting. I don't think I streamed all the time on YouTube though, no? Kevin was my my partner manager back then, and I think I streamed once on YouTube, and then he talked to me about it, and he's like, this is probably not a good idea, Chief. Because technically I think it was a violation of our partner contract, so I was like, okay. Rip Kevin is another dead guy. Jesus. So many dead people. Not Kevin Lynn. But Kevin, can I say his name if he's dead, I guess? Kevin Lawler used to be a pretty high up account manager at Twitch. And then I don't know what he died from, but geez. I'm coming down from a tab and just smoked a cone. Wondering if you've ever been there. I don't know what the fuck a cone is, but I don't combine weed with anything anymore. When did he die? I think a few years ago. Oh yeah, there was a lady I was debating who decided to hold up her phone in the middle of the debate. I think with a picture of Hunter Biden, although I think it was censored, but I think I got a 1-day or 3-day ban for that. Not even alcohol? I'll mix alcohol with any drug. Alcohol is awesome. Okay. Just make sure you get, you should always have like a, some people say Pedialyte, but I usually just grab like a Gatorade or even just a glass of water. Like if you take, for every drink, take a drink of water. At least for me, I don't get hangovers that way. Whoops.
Bone marrow, which was crowding out space for, you know, the cells that actually needed to be made. So that in itself,
if you really fuck it up, I think I can do like 5 to 6 shots. That's enough to get me fucking wasted. But as long as I drink a Gatorade or have like at least a couple glasses of water, I don't get a hangover. Yeah.
Doesn't spread to the rest of my body. It's just causing me to be like severely anemic. And the only kind of like solution to it is to nuke the whole body and replace it. So in the next couple days, I'm finishing up chemo. There's like a kind of a weaker chemo drug that they're giving me called fludarabine. And I've had it for the last 3 days, and then on the 5th day, they're going to give me, it's called like melphalan. And that one is supposed to like knock me out, just like completely cripple me. And then after that, I recover for 2 days, and then they give me the transplant.
It's fucking right.
But it's actually, getting a transplant nowadays is a lot easier than it used to be.
Speaking of cancer, alcohol also poses a significant cancer risk. Yeah, for a long time, they were going back and forth on like, is a glass of wine okay, or drinking on the weekend, or whatever. But I'm pretty sure the overwhelming amount of medical research at this point points to just any amount of alcohol is just really bad for you. If you're trying to optimize for health, you basically should just never drink. It's just not good in any amount.
Yeah, because before, if you needed to donate bone marrow, you would have to get it, like you as the donor would have to get it sucked from your bone. Like, but now I forgot what the name of it's called, but essentially you get this injection that boosts your body's production of white blood cells or stem cells, and then you sit in a machine that will harvest the stem cells from your bloodstream after you take this like injection for a week. And
hydration has no impact on hangovers. This is all an old wives' tale. Oh, well, I've never heard that before. Don't tell me that, because it definitely works for mine. Or maybe it only works because I think it works. Although I don't know if you could placebo away a hangover, because hangovers fucking suck. But I feel like for me, is there really no research for this? Does drinking water while drinking alcohol prevent hangover research? The alcohol hangover is a combination of negative mental and physical symptoms which can be experienced after a single episode of alcohol consumption, starting when blood alcohol concentration approaches zero. A popular theory suggests that dehydration is primary cause. I don't know. Here, the current evidence relationship between hangover severity, thirst, and water consumption is summarized. The positive correlation to the amount of water consumed with both hangover severity and thirst suggests that both dehydration and the hangover are co-occurring after effects of alcohol consumption. While hangovers were typically relatively enduring, dehydration effects were usually mild and short-lasting. Survey data revealed that water consumption during or directly after alcohol consumption had only a modest effect in preventing next-day hangover. Also, the amount of water consumed during hangover was not related to changes of hangover. During hangover doesn't help, I don't think. Thus, water consumption is not effective to alleviate the alcohol hangover. Hangover and dehydration are two. Oh, yeah, it can't be during. It has to be before, right? I don't know. Good luck. Oh, this says evidence-based tips. Where's your foundries? I'm working on them, okay? Damn, chill. I gotta make some fucking assembly machines. Oh fuck, I shouldn't have cooked all my iron. What's your take on the AI art situation? It makes sense for people to be outraged, I guess. The artists invest so much time into their art and then AI just copies it without any credit given. Honest to God, a few days ago I was trying to think up a bunch of arguments for the AI art just to trigger the fuck out of artists. I think there's a good line of thought in that. I actually like AI art more than ordinary art because AI art is pure. I don't have to guess the intentions of the machine. I know that it's just making it because it thinks it's the most creative way to express some particular thing at any given point in time. Whereas artists, it's hard to tell. They could just be doing it for money. They could be doing it even though they don't want to do it. Like, I can't tell when I look at a piece of human-based artwork, oh, this might have just been a commission. So now it doesn't feel like I'm looking at something that's nice, or they might have hated drawing it. I never have to wonder if a machine hated, like, I feel like there's a bunch of arguments in that vein that you could trigger the fuck out of artists with. Can you drink alone? I personally could never be addicted to alcohol because I just can't drink it without company. Oh, no, I don't do any drugs alone. I feel like that would be super sad. Yeah, we'll watch the Jubilee video in a minute.
And then they send a courier, like they send like a full person, like if the donor is from a different country, to pick it up from the hospital and then like accompany it back. Because I don't think they want to risk like mailing it through air without someone, I guess, supervising the delivery. And usually these are like retired old people who are just volunteering, which is crazy. So yeah, getting it dropped in fresh. Is it kind of like Dallas's machine? I don't know about Dallas's.
There's a lolcow queens. Are these like the girlfriends or wives of all the lolcow live people, or they made $37,200 in donations in the past week? Damn.
Machine, they call it apheresis, and you have like a tube that goes in one arm and it goes into this machine and it filters out the stuff above your head, and then it puts your blood back into your body in your other arm. So you're not really losing too much blood, it's just filtering out for the stem cells, and then when they get like a million
they're female
lockouts, then they ship that bag out, and then for me to get it, it's also the same process.
Why does the artist's intention matter? Shouldn't you view the work of art independently? Yeah, you probably should. I don't know if this is with Pisco or with somebody else. I was having an art or conversation on like what art is, but I think that I haven't like dove into my own thoughts too deeply on this. So I might come up with a different conclusion if I think more about it. And also, I'm sure there are people that have written so much about it. But where I was at the last time I had this conversation was I'm pretty sure art requires some sort of intentionality for us to consider it art as humans. Now, what the specific intention is might be different, but like the intention to create art, I think is something that distinguishes art from just things that are naturally beauty, right? So like if you look at like a pretty waterfall or a tree or a forest scene or something, these might be beautiful and they might even look like art, but we wouldn't call those things art because it seems like, I feel intuitively, we probably need like a human intentionality aspect for us to consider it art. And arguably you could say that AI is missing that particular thing. Although we might develop a new category of stuff that we call art that comes from AI, but we'd have to think about that a lot right now.
Where I'm just sitting there in a chair and then it's being transfused into my body. Yeah, and yeah, I can't string.
Destiny doesn't get it. He can't relate it to music, even though if it was music, he would say all Beethoven's commissions were still great works of art. Okay, we found the triggered artist, I guess.
This, by the way, the internet is shit at the hospital, and I also think there's a bunch of NDAs and that kind of thing.
So art can be anything and is subjective, right? I guess arguably, yeah. What's your take on all art is political? I mean, everything is political, arguably. Politics like can encompass every single aspect of our life, so you could say that, I guess. It's just kind of meaningless or reductive, I guess. Did you stop caring about recreational drugs and alcohol as much since you started ADHD meds? Nope. Recreational drugs and alcohol are still fun. Might need to plan it out a little.
I don't want to be that guy. Like, I think when I'm in the hospital, I'm just going to be sleeping.
Based. Hibernating.
And then how's insurance been? So I have like one of the lower tier insurance things, but it thankfully covers like, I guess, life-threatening emergencies like this. But it's crazy. I saw the master charges for some of the treatments I was getting. It's like well over like $1 million, I think, at this point, worth of treatments. Oh god.
Good one.
Yeah, I got the like the master charge back from my insurance, and my chemo drugs, like just the pills I'm taking, it's like I think it comes around to like $700-800 per pill.
Oh, cute. Nice. This is the thing that made me and Rachel like formally divide our stuff because of the cost of her chemo pills. I think I picked up one or two from a pharmacy once and it was like $1,000 for the 2 pills. And I was like, okay, well, this is not happening.
Wild. So it's just like, yeah, I don't know.
All art can be read politically, but that doesn't mean that all art is intentionally political. Yeah, sure, but depending on the asshole you're talking to, people will say like, oh, well, if you're creating art and you don't mean it to be political, it's still political. It's just supporting the status quo now, right, is what they'll say. So.
So, yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. So that is the current update on the situation. Anyway, and I had to move out from my old apartment because the hospital is too far away from was too far away from where I was living before. What symptoms do I have? Basically, most of it manifests itself as in like a really bad fever. Just like imagine just having fevers constantly, and I took so many Tylenols and stuff to try and like reduce the symptoms, and it just like would not really help. It would go down for like a couple hours and it would spike back up. And then I had a couple of really bad allergic reactions to some medication that I was taking. Like there was this one time where my entire body, I don't even know if I want to show this because it looks so gross. Okay, I'll give a
Destiny, yeah, but that is what we call in philosophy something that is trivially true. But even that view has limits. Is a generic sunset political, for instance, even in the most desperate reading? Yeah, easily. Bro, I could play this fucking retarded game all day. You can make anything political if you want. The idea that you can even draw what a sunset looks like means that you have the privilege of not living in a place with enough pollution or smog to make it so you can't perceive. It's not like that. You can find any bullshit way to do stuff like that if you wanted to. Well, good luck, Albert.
Usually when the friends come visit, I like have them
Or the
break
last
me
few minutes
something
of this.
because it's like pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Okay, I should probably wrap the stream up. I don't want to stay up too late. I'm trying to think. The next time I could possibly stream would probably be after the hospital, which will be end of April. I'll think about it.
Was anyone in the audience watching this? It seemed like it was just a random question hour. I mean, his audience was watching it, sure. Are you actually doing the AI co-host thing and anything else? No. Well, I think it's a good bit, but I think it would get old fast.
I don't think so. Doctors say it's probably like random RNG, just random mutation in my bone marrow cells that caused it. And it's just like, it happens, I guess. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know. Should I be like posting? I'm debating if I want to film shaving it. I feel like I would film it.
shaving his head. Good luck, Albert.
Alright.
Do you remember the toughest thing you've ever had to tell him?
2020 election. Coming to him after the
Who was Lara Trump? How is this person related to him?
2020 election in 21 and telling him that what he thought was the circumstance wasn't, which is how I got into all this. He said, well, can you fix it?
RNC chair, this is his daughter-in-law. Is it Eric's wife or somebody else's wife? Eric Trump seems too young, no? I don't know how. Oh, it is Eric's wife. Okay. Or somebody said, is it? Okay.
But he's
Wait, how old is Eric Trump? Wait, how old is she? Wait, is my brain fucking destroyed right now? Eric Trump is 41. This woman is like significantly older than that, or am I crazy? Oh, no, wait. I'm so sorry. This is Susie. I'm fucking losing my mind. This is Susie Wiles. This isn't the RNC chair. No, isn't she the current chief of staff? Bro, I'm losing my mind. Holy shit. Yes, she's the chief of staff right now. Maybe she was the RNC chair before. Okay. I don't know. Okay. Jesus.
Yes. Do you remember the...
Wait, the chief of staff. Oh, fuck. I just connected it to my brain. The chief of staff of the White House is his fucking daughter-in-law? Wait, what the fuck? What the fuck? That's... Okay, whatever. Sorry. It's retarded. Okay.
Yes.
Wait, no. Wait, what? Am I crazy? Am I... You're a fucking retard. I am a retard. No! Lara Trump is the daughter-in-law. Susie Wiles was the RNC chair. She's the chief of staff. Okay, never mind. Jesus. I'm sorry, guys. I have cancer of the brain. I was going to tell you tomorrow, but it just revealed itself today. Joking. Man, you guys just got epically fucking punked and trolled. You guys thought I was mixing these people up like this. Actually, embarrassing how easy it is to troll you guys. Epic style. Wow.
Yes. Do you remember the toughest thing you've ever had to tell him?
Lara Trump was the RNC chair. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
2020 election.
Okay.
Coming to him after the 2020 election in 21 and telling him that what he thought was the circumstance wasn't, which is how I got into all this. He said, well, can you fix it? But he's such a resilient person, and he's seen so much. It's very hard to surprise him.
This is not your first...
Yes.
Do you remember the toughest thing you've ever had to tell him?
What?
2020 election. Coming to him after...
Did we just use resilient as a replacement for the word stubborn? Did we just do that? Did I miss that redefining there?
The 2020 election in 21 and telling him that what he thought was the circumstance wasn't, which is how I got into all this. He said, well, can you fix it? But he's such a resilient person, and he's seen so much. It's very hard to surprise him.
This is not your first...
Yes.
Okay. Ice brown shirts, black bag, Hispanic. Oh, ice brown shirts, black bag, Hispanic, U.S.-born citizen off the street. Confiscate his IDs but refuse to look at them, then claim he's actually undocumented. And do not give him a chance to protest, contact a lawyer, etc. They did not have a warrant. Let's see. He was walking near the corner of Cermak Road and Harlem Avenue in Berwyn, Illinois, handing out his resume to local businesses. As he walked out of a Jiffy Lube, he was approached by ICE officers who grabbed him and handcuffed him and put him in a van without an opportunity to explain his citizenship. The officers drove Julio and others around for more than an hour before bringing him to an ICE processing center, where he remained still handcuffed for several more hours. All the while, Julio had a wallet containing identification that ICE had confiscated. The officers never showed Julio a warrant, and they did not ask him any questions to ascertain whether he was a non-citizen or a flight risk. After about 10 hours, ICE officers reviewed the contents of Julio's wallet, realized he was a U.S. citizen, and released him with no money and no paperwork. What do they mean, released him with no money and no paperwork? As in they took his money, or they didn't pay him for his time, and no paperwork, like they took the paperwork he had, or they just didn't show him like a warrant or anything? Unless, I don't know if it's different for federal officers. I can't imagine that it would be, but this interaction is okay, like right up until like literally the very fucking beginning. Like ICE officers could walk up to you and ask you a question, but I don't know how they can touch you or handcuff you. At that point, they would need at least reasonable suspicion to detain somebody. I don't know what reasonable suspicion you have by the guy just being brown. And then this taking him to an ICE center and everything, this sounds like an arrest. I don't even know if we've gotten a reasonable suspicion yet, let alone probable cause for an arrest. And then after 10 hours, they release him. That's okay. That's kind of not good at all, but Yeah, people are linking this shit about Trump seeking a third term. Don't care. Let's survive the second one first, then we can worry about any of that shit. The midterm should be what you're looking at right now. Police say that ICE tactics are eroding public trust in law enforcement. That's not surprising at all. When's the revolution against this? You guys taking it and doing nothing. I don't know what to tell you. The problem is that I get so angry. Fuck, I hate it every time I see Dan post a stupid fucking clip. It actually triggers the fuck out of me. But I don't even know who to get mad at. Like, Jesus. This is so, God, this just triggers the fuck out of me.
Regardless of the hypothetical reality where Kamala Harris would not be as bad as Donald Trump, which we have no proof for.
This is such an, it's such an, like, maybe Biden and Kamala would have brought us the, like, in any world, the thing is, I bet he'd even say yes, because he's such a disgusting snake privileged fuck. If you were to ask him prior to the election, do you think there's a chance that Kamala would authorize the Alien Enemies Act to start deporting brown people with no due process? Like, it's not even remotely the same. I hope that there are two big things that come from this for the Democrats as they figure out their pathing, their footing. One is that conservatives have no values. Don't ever try to appeal or to them on some values-based thing, like on their own values, right? You just have to try to win over like the working class voters, provide good services, message on that, but don't ever appeal to conservative values because they have none. Number one. And number two, these lefties have got to fucking go. Get these guys the fuck away from this party. They are cancerous, toxic, subhuman fucks. Like, it's actually disgusting. Oh my God. Oh, it'd be the same. It'd be the exact same on both sides. Kill me, bro. Holy fuck.
Has prioritized immigration enforcement, which has led some. The Trump administration has prioritized immigration enforcement, which has led some local police leaders to say it's making their jobs harder. That's because many people living in the U.S. without legal status are wary of the police and reluctant to report crime, even when they're the victims of it. NPR's criminal justice reporter Meg Anderson has this report.
In Santa Fe County, New Mexico last month, local police addressed a packed auditorium.
Buenas noches.
With the help of an interpreter, New Mexico State Police Chief Troy Wiesler tried to reassure county residents.
When we respond to calls or investigate crimes, we do not care if someone is a citizen or not.
Santa Fe Police Chief Paul Joy didn't wear his uniform out of fear it would make people nervous.
Whatever happens around the country, whoever is president, you are our community. We are your officers.
Meetings like this are playing out nationwide. Police are holding town halls, releasing videos and statements, adding FAQ sections to their websites. They're trying to communicate the same message. They are not immigration officers. But that can be tricky. At the Santa Fe meeting, County Sheriff Adan Mendoza said his agency does sometimes work with federal authorities, but
to be transparent, the only time that we would ever cooperate with ICE would be...
Should be for like ongoing investigations into violent crimes or potentially handing over violent felons, which I think everybody would probably agree with.
Cooperate with ICE would be if somebody has committed a major felony.
Yeah.
That's not the case everywhere. Police agencies have different rules for how they work or don't with ICE.
But you got to figure, too, this is the argument. One of the arguments, by the way, regardless of how you feel about them, this is one of the arguments for sanctuary cities, is you got to be able to enforce crime. Whether they're legal or illegal or whatever the fuck, you can't let crime run rampant. And when you have a system that is aggressively trying to vet people or aggressively searching for illegal immigrants, you're discouraging certain communities from reporting crime because now they're not sure if they're going to get fucking deported if the cops show up or if something happens, you know? This is why... I don't know if I want to make that generalization. Nah, I will, because it's the responsible thing to do. I have to counter message all the lefties. Like, if you or your friends are like, hi, if you're drunk or if you've done something, you're not supposed to do it, but there's like some serious shit going down, you should call the cops. I'll say from my personal experience, and I can't generalize this to everybody, but from my personal experience, if cops show up and there's like some serious shit going down, if a cop like stumbles across some weed or whatever, he's not there to like bust your balls on it. Like generally they're more happy that you called than you didn't. I don't know if that would be true necessarily maybe in every single circumstance, but Don't ever like let yourself get into some serious crazy shit, or let other people convince you. Like if you're a girl and you're at some dude's house and you're whatever's going on, and you feel like you need to call the cops, and the guy's like, "Don't, we're already we're high on cocaine, and the cops will fuck you up or whatever." Like don't ever be afraid of shit like that. That's retarded. You're living in like the weird lefty world where cops are just showing up to fucking kill you or whatever. That's not always the case. That's like 50% of the. I'm just kidding, but yeah, but.
It's a delicate balance. Many police do want ICE to apprehend people committing violent crimes. They don't want to scare away law-abiding immigrants from calling the police.
You can't really trust them to enforce crime if they are falsely labeling everyone as some kind of terrorist or violent offender and blackbagging them off to El Salvador. Sure, but that's what you're talking about there. These are federal officers that work for ICE. It's not the same as your local police enforcement or your local law enforcement. These are different. They're different. A totally different agency, totally different mission. But
I'm calling the police. Chuck Wexler, head of the Police Executive Research Forum, says it's not always easy.
Dealing with their communities, it's dealing with federal law enforcement, and they really find themselves caught in the middle and trying to navigate that ground as best they can.
In Tennessee, the Greenville Police Department postponed a Hispanic community meeting this month after people on Facebook claimed it was actually an ICE roundup in December.
Cops hardly ever make things better in most situations. Cops, in the overwhelming amount of situations, will make things better. There are bad times where they don't, and those times will show up on YouTube if they don't, but generally speaking, you're better off having them there than not.
Skies. In Boston, when Police Commissioner Michael Cox pointed out last month that his agency doesn't have the authority to enforce immigration law, Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, said he'd bring hell to the city. Last week, ICE arrested more than 300 people in Massachusetts.
At Destiny, okay, Leon's Law, okay, you're a lawyer, okay. Because I'm reading your statement now, and I don't... You said, my homie passed out and shattered his hip hitting a tree with his car. When the cops showed up, they arrested him for having a weed pen. They probably should have arrested your friend because it sounds like they showed up to a scene with a fucking accident happening where your friend sounds like he was driving under the influence and they found narcotics on him while he was passed out and crashed in his car after he hit a tree. So in that case, they probably should arrest him. Yes, what the fuck?
Many police chiefs have opted to risk the ire of the federal government to preserve trust with immigrant communities. That can be a tenuous bond in the best of times. And leaders NPR spoke to say they're worried immigrants are already reporting fewer crimes. Studies show immigration status can be a barrier to calling the police. Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara says that jeopardizes public safety.
If people are not willing to call us and tell us what's going on, tell us they've been victimized, cooperate as witnesses, all of that leads to a situation that makes the potential for everyone in this city to be victimized that much worse.
Republican Sheriff Chad Bianco in Riverside County, California, is in favor of Trump's immigration efforts. But he regularly speaks with farm owners in his county. He says many of them employ people.
The problem is that like everybody's in favor of a broad thing until it's applied to them in particular. Like if you ask somebody, like, do you think that people that have been convicted of a violent felony should be allowed to own firearms? They're like, absolutely not. No, never. That should just never. That's bad. No, violent felons shouldn't have access to these things. Like, okay, fine. It's like, okay, well, we're taking all your guns. Like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Well, you might be 47 years old, but when you were 21, weren't you convicted of assaulting that guy outside of a bar when you got drunk? And it's like, okay, well, hold on, bro. Yeah, but like I pled guilty to it. It was a bar fight. It was dumb, but that was like 30 years ago, bro. Like as soon as it's them, all of a sudden we have to, well, hold on, wait. We need to like fairly analyze the situation. The broad brush ain't gonna work for me, homie, okay? Get the scalpel out, what the fuck? And it's always like this, whether you're talking about Brexit, we need to leave the EU. Okay, well, how? Oh, shit. How? What do you mean how, brother? 2 years debating that. Whether it's abortion is always wrong. Okay, well, that chick that you hooked up with last night, she's pregnant. And it's like, actually, Nietzsche and Hume have interesting things to say about the concept of life and the meaning and value of a female. It's like, okay, well, all right, Chief, yeah.
People who are undocumented.
The employees are telling the owners of things that are happening.
They're reporting robberies.
People like Asmund Gold want every single illegal immigrant to be deported, no matter if they have committed violent crimes or not, no matter if they have jobs and have lived in the U.S. for decades, simply because they crossed the border legally. Do you think the reason for why he thinks this way is simply because he cares that much about the law, or is there something else happening? It's if you don't see somebody, if you don't interact with somebody, it's very easy to dehumanize them, right? He probably just hasn't had a single interaction with anybody that he knows is an illegal immigrant, unfortunately. Yeah.
Robberies, assaults, even rape.
So the owners are telling me, but they're telling me that they can't convince their workers to be a victim and to notify law enforcement because they're afraid they're going to be deported.
Harold Medina is the police chief in Albuquerque and also leads the Major Cities Chiefs Association. He says if law enforcement is only now trying to build trust, it's too little, too late.
I think it comes down to you should never try to create a relationship with a segment of the community the day after something has occurred. Every day we deposit in the bank of trust.
He says trust makes it easier to convince people that the police are here to help. Meg Anderson, NPR News.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Nora Rahm. The death toll from Friday's devastating earthquake.
No one cares. That was a really bad earthquake, though. These people have got to go. These people need to go. These people. If I notice someone being suddenly grabbed and being dragged away by unidentified people who are ICE officers in civilian clothing, do I have the right to try and stop them, even with the Second Amendment? Yeah, you have the right if they don't identify themselves. Kamala would not have turned ICE into a modern Gestapo that kidnaps students off the streets. There was never a point where ICE wasn't that. Liberals believe in nothing and remember even less. Guys, laws are important. The border is important. Laws should be enforced, and the border should be enforced. We should not have illegal immigrants in the United States, okay? That being said, the way that you, just like we also ideally shouldn't have abortions, right? Because people shouldn't be getting pregnant, right? So what do you do? What the best things to do are to be preventative, okay? How do you keep people from getting pregnant accidentally, right? Things like birth control and education having to do with contraception, right? Or with illegal immigrants, for the people that are here, you've got to figure out a way to get them registered. And then ideally you figure out a way to help people immigrate more or secure the border more. Both of these things are fine. But yeah, it can't be a lawless nation. Like, did you see this? Yes, a couple listening to Asmund just before our thing. Yes, I saw it. I'm pretty sure this is the reason my friend OD'd and died. He was on probation and was likely in a situation where calling 911 would end with him in prison. Oh, rip. Yeah, that sucks.
Mr. Berliner, in his story last year, wrote, I've in the D.C. area, editorial positions at NPR, he said he found 87 registered Democrats, 0 Republicans. Is that accurate?
We do not track the numbers or the voter registration, but I find that
was award-winning journalist who worked 25 years at NPR. Mr. Berliner, was he lying when he wrote that?
I am not presuming such. I just we don't track that information about our journalists.
87 to 0, and you're not biased.
I think that is concerning if those numbers are accurate.
It's concerning. I mean, it wasn't 44-43. It wasn't 60-27. It wasn't 70-17. It wasn't even 80-7. It was 87 Democrats, 0 Republicans, and you say NPR is not biased. How about the big stories over the last few years? According to Mr. Berliner, again, he wrote on...
What is it, should there be DEI then for Republican journalists? Like, why is the question never, well, why aren't Republican journalists applying to go work at NPR then? What's going on there, buddy? I don't know.
The Trump-Russia story, he wrote, at NPR, we hitched our wagon to Trump's most visible antagonist, Representative Adam Schiff. They said they interviewed him 25 times. Is that accurate?
I was not there at the time, but those numbers sound accurate. Yes.
Those sound accurate. But then he said when the Mueller report came out, and Robert Mueller said he found no evidence of collusion. He said Russiagate
That's not what Robert Mueller said, but conservatives will lie about this till the end of time, so whatever.
From our programming. Is that accurate?
Again, I was not there at the time. I couldn't say.
You couldn't say?
I was not at NPR at the time.
You didn't prepare for that? You knew we were going to ask you about this guy, didn't you? It's come up like 6,000 times already in the hearing.
I just couldn't say whether it faded from our coverage, sir.
How about this story? October 2020, the New York Post had the Hunter Biden laptop story, and one of those editors, I guess one of those 87 Democrat editors, said this: we don't want to waste our time on stories that are not really stories. We don't want to waste the listeners' and readers' times on stories that are just pure distractions. Was that a pure distraction story?
Our current editorial leadership believes that was a mistake, as do I.
Yeah, the whole country knows that was a mistake. Definitely impacted the election, or I think it certainly impacted the election. How about the...
That's a lie when they say it impacted the election. You talked about this more than any other thing. Conservatives will mind wipe you and gaslight the fuck out of you constantly. That story was censored, quote unquote, suppressed on Twitter and Facebook for like less than 24 hours. They act like it was suppressed for months. Like we didn't find out until after the election that the Hunter Biden laptop story was even a thing. Ugh. The founder has 50% productivity. Oh, cute.
COVID origin story. That's a pretty big story too, right? Mr. Berliner said, we became fervent members of the team Natural Origin, even declaring that the lab leak was debunked by scientists. Turns out, though, the lab leak is what most people think actually caused the COVID virus.
That's not true at this point, but okay.
Virus.
Sorry, is there a question there?
There is. You guys were 0 for 3 on the three of the biggest stories in the last 5 years. You guys were 0 for 3, and yet you maintain that NPR is not biased?
Congressman, I do not believe we are politically biased. No, we are a nonpartisan organization.
Nonpartisan organization. What's happening?
What were the 3 biggest stories? It was the Hunter Biden laptop story, whether or not COVID came from a lab, and whether, what was the third one?
And they said, Robert Mueller said.
Oh, and Russiagate. I mean, those are 3 pretty big stories, I guess. I don't know if I would say those are the biggest ones. I feel like October 7th was a big one. I feel like Russia-Ukraine was a big one. It's nitpicky now. This Jim Jordan guy, though, is a fucking subhuman piece of shit. Don't worry about this. Saw this. I just need to get this off my chest. My girl and I saw a clip where someone asked testing the dumbass question, would you rather be alone in the woods with a bear or a man? This sparked a debate because it's obviously regarded. And of course, my girl says bear. And I'm like, what the fuck? That's crazy. She felt like she wasn't doing her argument justice, and I genuinely wanted to understand her side. So I got a woman separate to ask and stress so much in the post. I wasn't looking for debates or to be mean. I just wanted another side, and everyone responded like I was a dumb fuck that should already know, which pissed me off real. Live, because I came at the wit such kindness. This again sparked an argument with my girl, and she made me convince myself 1,000 times over. We went to a dispensary, and there was a weird-looking homeless dude out there, and I gave her her phone back and told her to call me if anything got weird. Alas, the bear conversation comes up again, and she's like, you see, you don't trust men either. I was just astounded and asked her, if there was a bear out there, do you think I'd just hand you your phone and be like, call me if anything gets weird? Hell no, we would be running the complete opposite direction. After this, I don't think I'll ever be convinced otherwise. Does this guy have autism? This post has been removed. Ooh. An actual predator versus a man. Men are actual predators. You not seeing that only reinforces her answer. Hope this helps, considering this is also another purpose of damn. It just shows that men think rape is nothing, while women are genuinely scared of being raped. I mean, a bear is not going to rape us, and I have yet to meet any man. Okay, if you're gonna say this stuff as a woman, that's fine. But then you can't balk when red pillars and shit are like, why don't I ever want to get married? Because I know every woman is a baby trapping, greedy, trying to take all my money to show my life piece of shit. Like, these are 2 sides of the same coin. This is a little fucking retarded. Like, the actual answer is that you don't know how dangerous a bear is because you don't see a bear, but you know how dangerous men can be. So when you ask to compare the danger of one to the other, you probably gravitate towards the bear versus the man, just because you don't, or you gravitate towards the bear being less dangerous than the man, just because you don't have any direct experience with it. But you realize it's a little bit of a silly answer, but it like illustrates that point. But if you're genuinely out here trying to genuinely make the argument that sincerely you believe the man is more risky, you've lost the plot. This is the exact same as a red pillar saying no man should ever get married because marriage is an institution for women to deprive men of their wealth and to just steal it all when they go and fuck the pool boy after, raping the man's bank or whatever. It's fucking stupid. Jesus. I'm gonna read about 1 sec. Would you rather have sex with a bear or walrus? Why the fuck did I come back to this question? Are you okay? I've been in the woods my whole life, and I've come across bears many times, even moms and cubs. There was one time where I was worried and backed away slowly. Bears avoid people as much as possible and don't typically just attack for no reason. My experience with men, I found them to be unpredictable and sometimes quite aggressive and scary for no real reason. A bear will mind its business and leave me alone if I leave it alone. A man would not. Jesus. There's some degree of truth to that. Although I don't know if all bears would leave you alone. Example.
Thank you for leaving my kayak alone. I'm going to pepper spray you in the face. That's what I'm going to do to you. Go away. No! Get away from the kayak. Get away from that kayak. Come here. Come on! Stop it, Bear! Stop it! Bear! 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 You're breaking it! You're breaking my kayak! Why are you doing that? Why are you breaking my kayak? Why are you breaking my kayak? What am I gonna do? Why are you breaking my kayak? Stop it! Bear! Stop that! Stop that, Bear! Bear, stop! Stop breaking my kayak, please! Please stop! Gosh darn it! Oh, why are you doing that? Bear, please stop! Please stop, Bear! It's the end of September! Why are you here? You're supposed to be asleep! Why are you here? Oh! Bear! Bear! Stop that! Stop that!
Doesn't seem like a friendly bear now, does it? Bet this woman would rather have the man than the bear.
Stop that! Bear, stop that! Bear, stop that! Please stop that, Bear! Bear, please stop that! Please stop breaking my thing!
See, if it was a man, the man would just be raping the kayak. And you could still use it afterwards. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
You know when you meet someone and they swear that all of their exes were psychos, and then you slowly realize that, oh, wait, I'm talking to the person who was the problem in the relationship? Unrelatedly, the Young Turks. And
I'll say that till the day that I die. Anytime you meet somebody who says that everybody that they know or all of their exes or whatever were all psychotic, should always be your biggest red flag. Be careful.
I'm going to make this as brief as possible because there are a million far more important and pressing things going on right now. As you know, actual fascism. But to make it brief, Cenk Uygur, the head of TYT, recently hath forboden me from appearing on any TYT shows because, in part, I said that him capitulating to right-wing framing on many issues meant he was, quote, acting like a bitch. And the truth is, he was, and I'll explain that a little bit later. But first, some backstory. So I have been a contractor at TYT for 10 years now, appearing on all of the shows as a...
People always type the dumbest shit when it comes to my shit in chat. The vast majority of people that I've met or been in the background of my life are all fine. They're crazy people show up on stream. Like, what proportion of your exes aren't crazy? I'm on good terms with every ex, except for Melina, I guess. So all the rest of them are fine, okay? And even Melina, I don't harbor any ill will towards her, okay? So far.
A fill-in host, as a guest host during election coverage, on the TYT main show, on the Damage Report, and on Indisputable, along with a lot of other shows. I have always hopped on at the last minute, always helped out in a pinch.
Tiger Lily? Yeah, she's got like a whole ass fucking family. That woman produces kids like crazy. I think she's been doing fine for quite a while though.
I guest host last minute, and yes, I was paid. And if you're watching this and you are a TYT contributor and you are not getting paid, stop going on.
Wait, say this again? I'm so sorry. Hold
hopped on at the last minute, Always helped out in a pinch. I guest host last minute, and yes, I was paid. And if you're watching this and you are a TYT contributor and you are not getting paid, stop going on TYT until you do. I've never been a full-time employee, never got healthcare, never got maternity leave when I had my child. But back in 2018, I was hired for a 6-month contract to pilot a show for $3,000 a month. Then, however, their funding bottomed out and I was let go. And they broke their contract. My reps at the time thought I should sue to get the full 6 months of payment and work that I was owed, but I didn't, because I told them that TYT was good people and I wanted to maintain my relationship, and I did. That is until things started to turn for TYT politically. And this started happening around the pandemic.
Can I just say there's something that I appreciate this so much, okay? I appreciate this so much. This has to do with a take I gave about talking to women, period. How everything feels like hostage taking now. Well, I guess it's not just talking to women. I guess it's business contacts as well. One thing that I appreciated that Ethan did in his video about Hassan is Ethan said, when he started to list off stuff that Hassan had been involved in the past, Ethan said, here is like stuff Hassan has done in the past. However, I knew all of this when we were originally, you know, like doing our show, and I was fine with it then. I appreciate that he didn't do the rewriting thing. I feel like the historical rewriting is some of the most like cancer AIDS shit that you can do. I hope I haven't done this. I don't think I do this. Where like, if you were okay kind of getting, I don't want to say getting fucked over, but if you're okay with some arrangement at some point and then something bad happens and then all of a sudden you're like, I was taking advantage of this entire time. They didn't pay out this or they didn't. It's like, okay, well, motherfucker, why didn't you say shit at the time? Like now you're going to go back and like you were saving up for an alt or whatever. I don't know. I feel like that's cringe, but.
Around the pandemic, Anna Kasparian seemed to become focused on the issue of homelessness, especially in a city that I...
Didn't you change your opinion on Mr. Girl rape story and his interview with his girlfriend? The interview I always thought was cringe. I changed my opinion on the rape stuff after I saw another video about it, but I don't rewrite or regret any of my time with Mr. Girl. Like, I still stand by everything I said about him initially. I'm the only motherfucker, by the way, on the entire internet that will give people props for stuff they do good, even if I hate them. And I will continue to defend, like, to this day, I think Mr. Girl has impeccable taste when it comes to artistic stuff, or like for any of his music stuff or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, like, I'll stand by all of those opinions. I do think he probably did rape that one girl, though. Although, like, the type of, like, when we say rape, it's a complicated story, and everything he talks about is complicated. I don't know if I would call him, like, a full-on fucking rapist. It's complicated, okay? But I don't like him now, obviously, for a bunch of insanely deranged interpersonal reasons. But I don't, but I won't rewrite everything. I won't be like, oh, I had no clue. Mr. Girl did pedophile joke songs? I didn't know this when we started being friends. I can't believe that he reviewed a movie called Cuties? What? That's like, this is cringe. Like, you see it in the beginning, you accept it, you don't, and you don't get to go back and rewrite that based on a later falling out. That's cringe.
I used to call home, which is San Francisco. She had an objectively scary experience with...
I agree, however, sometimes I think you don't realize things at the time, only retrospectively. I do agree with that, and I think that's a case that can happen. And I have had those ones where I was like, fuck, I think, like, for instance, like seeing that, I think Hassan was a lot more clout sharky than I ever realized initially. I think it's okay to, like, realize in retrospect, oh, fuck, maybe this thing was more like this than I realized. But, that's different than like the total. So like for here, like if you're not getting paid maternity leave, you're not getting paid or whatever. I mean, then it is what it is. Like you can't to go back and say like, this actually wasn't okay. Well, you didn't say anything at the time about it. I don't know. I feel kind of,
in a city that I used to call home, which is San Francisco. She had an objectively scary experience with an unhoused person. And in fact, I went back to see when she told her audience about this. And I do remember the day that Anna told the story on air. In fact, I was also on after she told that story, but I didn't hear it at the time. It was within an interview that she was doing with an author by the name of Michael Schellenberger, who had written the book San Francisco, Why Progressives Are Ruining Cities. Instead of focusing on housing market prices, on how homelessness often leads to things like addiction and mental illness, Schellenberger...
Okay, hold on, just real quick, because this girl is significantly to the left of me. Okay. This girl is significantly to the left of me. Homelessness does not always cause addiction and mental health issues. A lot of these people become homeless because of mental health and addiction issues. It's not just that the evil boogeyman of homelessness gives somebody or induces fucking schizophrenia or something, okay? This like romanticization of homeless people is really fucking retarded, and it reeks of like, I've never been around a homeless person my entire life. I understand. Now, I think it's cringe, especially for an adult person like Anna Kasparian, to rewrite their entire fucking political identity based off of getting bullied. But I'm sympathetic towards Anna feeling a bit mind-fucked of all of these weird lefties coming out with this like, oh, like unhoused persons are so nice. How could you ever think these horrible things about them? Like there are unhoused neighbors. Like, bro, you're unhinged. You are super out of line, and you need to either go to Vancouver, East Hastings, or you need to go to LA under literally any overpass ever, or you need to go hang out in Hollywood at night, or like anywhere really, or anywhere in fucking Seattle or Portland downtown at night, or anywhere in LA at night. Like, yeah, this is just, it's the most fucking retarded take in the universe, okay? What do you say for people who think you changed your opinion on Nick? Didn't you always know he was a Nazi? My opinion on that was consistent throughout the entire thing, and it still is consistent. I don't think it's changed. I feel like with recent evidence, I feel like I'm pretty solid in all the opinions I had on that. If you think that my opinion was he suddenly wasn't a Nazi and then he suddenly was a Nazi, then you've never cared to look into it, and I'm not going to relitigate that for the 50 trillionth time, okay?
Focuses on Democrats who thinks go too easy on the unhoused. I remember that I jumped onto the show right after he got off, after that interview. And the TYT audience was really pissed because they felt like the framing and the platforming of someone like Schellenberger was a disservice to the issue of homelessness, mental illness, and addiction.
The latest data collected in the Bay Area states that the majority of the unhoused are not strung out. Grain of salt, I did not deep dive into the claim. That's probably true. I don't think the majority of them are. I think it's a much higher, like 2 or 3 times the percentage of people that are homeless are probably mentally ill or super drug addicted versus ordinary people, like non-homeless people. But I doubt the majority of them are like having some crazy mental shit. I will say too, though, you got to be really careful because sometimes like how people count homeless stats can get a little bit retarded in terms of like who counts as homeless. So I don't know. You got to be careful with how people count that shit sometimes. Like I'm kind of careful to say that I don't really like to say that I was ever homeless because it feels like stolen valor. But like I lived out of my car for a month. I showered sometimes at Kyle's dorm and then sometimes at I want to say it was a Flying J. It was like a truck stop thing near the casino. If anybody was ever at the Horseshoe is what they called it back then in Council Bluffs. But like I was showering. I was still going to school. I just practiced my sax in my car. I still worked full time. So like I was homeless, yeah. But it was because me and my wife broke up and I was waiting for me and Rachel to be able to get a townhome. But like somebody like me getting counted in the homeless statistics, or sometimes people who don't even have a stable place to stay will be counted as homeless. But that's not really the same thing as like, this is a cart with all of my things and I live under the overpass. These are 2 very different types of experiences. And sometimes I feel like the numbers kind of add them all together depending upon what homeless thing you're looking at. But
Anna apparently took that as the chat downplaying what happened to her rather than how the issues were presented. She's since gone on right-wing shows like Glenn Beck.
There goes your car. I have a Volkswagen GTI. However, I'm also like 5'8", so I could make it work.
Piers Morgan and Jillian Michaels, among others, to retell this story and use it as rationale for why she feels the left.
To me, that would count as homeless, but I can see why you wouldn't want to say that with the duration. If that was the case for 6+ months, then it seems more reasonable to say I was homeless. Even if you're talking about, even if it was like that for 6 months, I don't think you would necessarily say that. In my mind, there's a big difference between I don't have a reliable way to earn money to clean myself, and to like sleep safely. I think that these things like differentiate. Like you can theoretically be homeless or not have a stable home, but still have those qualifications met. And I think that makes you significantly different than somebody who has to literally live like, you know, in an underpass or overpass or whatever on the street. I think it's quite a different experience.
left her that maybe she's never been left.
What fucked up to me? You live out of your car for that bit. I had a new girlfriend, my kid's mom, and me and my ex broke up, and I couldn't live with her. She was a fighter. She was a warrior in the worst way. So I didn't live with her while me and Rachel saved up for a down payment for an apartment.
For why she feels the left her, that maybe she's never been left, why she's politically homeless, politically unhoused. Since then, she's gone on to cover critical stories from a right-wing framing, like the alleged takeovers of buildings by Venezuelan gangs in Aurora, Colorado, like the mentally ill, undocumented man in Los Angeles, who was found lighting fires, but who was not responsible for the wildfires themselves in January. Throwing progressive
Last thing on this. People who are voluntarily living in their car, who have a job or a different type, for sure. I feel like the having a job part is a really huge distinguishing factor, because having a job necessitates a whole bunch of other things that are working well in your life. If you have a job, it means you can probably clean yourself. It means that you can probably wake up and go to sleep. These are like really basic, stupid things that we take for granted. Well, hopefully you guys take for granted. But for other types of people, whether you have addiction issues or severe mental illness, or a severe lack of access to resources, these are things that can severely impact your ability to live an ordinary life. So being able to clean yourself, being able to take care of yourself means that, like, if you've got like a cut or something, you're not like scratching it and it's not getting to a full-blown infection and you have to get your arm amputated, you don't have like, rot on your body, kind of goes along with cleaning yourself, but like the medical side and everything more, being able to wake up and go to sleep on a reliable time and then be able to transport yourself to and from a job. Like, if you can do these things, so this is all under the umbrella of like having a job. If you can do all of these things, you're already like significantly better than sometimes than people who aren't homeless. But yeah.
Ill, undocumented man in Los Angeles who was found lighting fires, but who was not responsible for.
Somebody linked to something that said 50% of homeless people have a job. Yeah, but like I said, like some people will consider like being homeless like I'm crashing on my mom's couch and I go back and forth between like my mom's and my uncle's because I don't have a house yet and I'm just like kind of working to save up money, and that'll be considered like homeless. And like it is a type of homelessness, but I feel like it's very misleading. Okay, last thing. Sorry, Destiny. Down payment, bro. You lived out of a car for a while to afford to buy an apartment. What the fuck made you buy instead of rent in that case, out of curiosity? Are you European? I'm sorry. Down payment. Wait, did I say down payment though? I meant a deposit. My bad. Whatever. Not you. You're not. We always rent apartments in the U.S. We don't buy apartments. We buy condos. Would you consider people in a homeless shelter to be homeless? Probably, yeah. I think so, yeah.
Los Angeles, who was found lighting fires, but who was not responsible for the wildfires themselves in January. Throwing progressive mayors like Brandon Johnson of Chicago under the bus because he listens to teachers too much. Anna's actually really skilled at what she does, so the laziness with which she treats these stories really just stands out all the.
Living out of a car, but temp agency work, job to job. If you're going from job to job, it shows something bad is happening. Being able to hold down a job is like an indicator of a whole bunch of like mentally healthy things that are going on in your life. And if you're jumping from job to job a lot, that's why like having a resume with big holes in it can be seen as like kind of bad to employers. It's like, what was going on here that you were unemployed for so long? Yeah, just having a job shows that there's a bunch of things in your life that are working, I think.
Because he listens to teachers too much. Anna's actually really skilled at what she does, so the laziness with which she treats these stories
is intentional.
Really just stands out all the more. Let me give you some backstory, though, of Anna and my friendship. We've never been close, despite a hike, a dinner, and the time that she generously gave me a gift for my new baby, and then explained to me that she was going to debate Ben Shapiro because, in her words, she, quote, felt she could win over his audience. Two moments with Anna stand out for me in terms of how I've always treated her. In 2016, I was working with AJ Plus, and we were at the RNC. I had just started going on TYT a little bit and meeting everyone. And TYT was there, and Anna was there, and she was frustrated because she hadn't been booked on many appearances on camera, and instead a panel of men mostly clogged up the day. I stood next to her and told her how annoying that was, and just tried to build her up in solidarity. Then in 2019, we went...
Unless you're using the term homeless politically, the word homeless I don't think implies the extreme end of homelessness. Shopping cart under an overpass, it absolutely does. That is absolutely what most people think of immediately when you say homeless. That is absolutely the case. I refuse to believe anything differently. It absolutely does.
Went out to lunch in Los Angeles at an awesome spot that she knew of. And Anna confided to me that she was frustrated about leadership at TYT. How she wasn't involved in day-to-day decision-making, and how Cenk viewed her more as a kid sister rather than a co-equal partner. And at the time, she wanted to branch out on her own and do videos on a new channel. I implored her at that moment to stay. I said that it's always women that tend to walk away from organizations, even when they've helped build them up to the point that they're at. I told her to fight for more of a decision-making role and to not walk away. And she did. And it looks like the editorial decisions that we see being made at TYT are in part because she now has the reins. In a way, I'm proud of her, even if I don't like the coverage. In November of last year, in an effort to understand where Anna was coming from and why she was doing what she was doing, I invited her to come on my show, The Bituation Room. She agreed, but also told me that she had a family emergency that sounded bad, and I told her to not worry and that we would find a time in the new year. That week, she went on Glenn Beck's show, and it kind of puzzled me, to be honest. She obviously now is likely not going to come on my show, in part because Cenk did. And I wanted to talk to him about his own very cordial conversations with the right since the election or re-election of Donald Trump, in which he tells various figures, from Charlie Kirk to Patrick Bet-David to Tim Pool to RFK Jr. lover, again, Jillian Michaels, about how he agrees that the left is often cruel and too extreme, saying that at a time where people are literally being disappeared for their political beliefs by this right-wing agenda. Anyone can watch the discussion. I put it in the link below, and it's honestly just a really disturbing portrait of his very with me or against me mentality. I even foreshadowed in the video the idea that he would boot me from TY.
Yeah, but that's a problem of perception, which I think contributes to a bit. The fact is these types of things are tracked, but all of these people need assistance. It's extremely important to get help for all of them. It doesn't help to say some types of homelessness are in some ways less needy. I super disagree with you. I don't even know or care what you linked. I think that you absolutely need to talk about different groups of homeless people in different ways. Otherwise, you run into the situation that Ezra Klein and the other book guy are complaining about, where you just end up endlessly throwing money at problems and they'll never get better. For instance, I just thought of a guy who was homeless that we used to walk by every day at my high school. If there's a guy who's fucking insane, there is no housing first homeless policy that gets this dude to a job area where he can work and be on his own. He needs to be probably institutionalized for the rest of his life. And when I say that, not necessarily like in an institution, but he needs permanent full-time care, and he will never be like that much of a functioning member of society. Versus somebody who lapsed on some housing payments, or maybe has like a light addiction issue, not like they've been strung out on drugs for 30 fucking years, but they like are wrestling with addiction issues. Like all of these people need help in different types of ways. And you can't just like say, we just got to throw money at all of them and give them all houses and eventually they'll fix it. I think you have to be able to talk about them differently. But these distinctions are made. That's my point. Sure, and some people might, but in the political conversations, they don't. I'm sure that when it comes to actually helping homeless people, for the organizations that do, I would hope they make those distinctions. I'm sure they do. But like for most of the conversations don't make that distinction.
Mentality. I even foreshadowed in the video the idea that he would boot me from TYT one day. And he did. It was also staggering how much he was shadowboxing with me as some kind of stand-in for the max left that has lost their minds. In that video, he laughed at me for suggesting that Trump would create detention camps. After the discussion in December, TYT main show never asked me back on. And then when I made a harmless little video pointing out that yes, there are detention camps, that seemed to be one of the final straws. Personally, Cenk and I were never close. In 2022, I think we went out to lunch and he asked me if I wanted to work with TYT full-time. And it gave me pause.
Wait, I feel like I remember watching this. Is that, can somebody link that line in a debate? I might have even said that Francesca was maybe being unhinged at the time. I don't remember if I said that or not. But yeah, she said something about like, they're gonna round people up and put them in concentration camps or detention camps or whatever. And Francesca was technically wrong because it's worse than that. But Cenk, and then maybe even me, were very wrong in saying that, like, I don't think it'll get that bad. I don't know what my position was on that at the time. I don't know how long ago it was. But I don't think you did? Okay, I don't remember. If anybody has a a link to that debate because I feel like I remember that blow up. It was when Cenk was making his round to talk to everybody and to talk to all the conservatives because he was on his why I left the left arc basically.
Look, I work with a number of outlets. I am a stand-up comedian. I value my free time, and I have my own show. I wanted time to do those things, but also I pay through the nose for things like healthcare, and a little bit of job stability would be amazing. I also know how hard the company works people who work there, and I know how it treated the union drive. I also know how much they deny full-time employees bonuses every year, even when they're delivering millions of views. I know that they're kind of cheap. And Cenk usually doesn't like it when people negotiate with him.
Were you able to find anyone to soundproof your situation a couple of weeks ago? I could use what's on my situation. What do you mean? I have huge like soundproofing wall things now in my room, but I think this sounds pretty soundproofed. Like you should just hear what's in my mic and not all the background shit anymore. So, but it's been like that for weeks.
So I said, sure, I want to work for TYT full time, but it depends on the offer, which by the way, you should always ask for an offer before you pledge loyalty to anyone or any company.
True.
An offer never came because in my view, loyalty wasn't a given. All this to say, I'm not sad to leave TYT behind, especially now. With, of course, the exception of the damage report with John Idarola, who I care about and I think is so talented. But we live in a time of right-wing monsters, authoritarians, and yes, fascists.
True. Can I... No way. Could I use an arm to throw stone into the lava and melt it? Is that how I get rid of the stone?
And anyone capitulating to their framework about human rights, about policing, around militarism, is not serious about liberation or democracy. Please, never watch anyone who can't admit when they're wrong. Never watch anyone who tells you that their strategy is right and that they are the way, the truth, the light. Never listen to anyone who doesn't have a...
Well, she was close. I mean, everyone you listen to should think their strategy is right, but obviously they should also be receptive to feedback or correcting if they've gone astray or something, right?
Sense of humor when they are acting like a bitch. I am one person with a scrappy YouTube channel who pieces together my annual living. I have a fraction of the following of TYT, which is $1 million media company. The idea that they choose to focus on me or other leftist creators in their field is honestly really disheartening and very revealing. Look, I wish the best for the people of TYT. But as for the main host...
Why do you think the U.S. has such a problem with homelessness? Is it literally just shitty welfare? Honest to God, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I feel like we looked up the numbers and I was a little bit surprised because it looked like other countries do deal with homelessness, but for some reason it's just way more visible in the United States. Intuitively, that still feels very wrong to me. So maybe there was something we missed when we looked that up, but like the homelessness rate in the United States almost seemed comparable to other countries, which that just intuitively, that just feels so wrong. But I'm not sure. It might be also that no, yeah, I don't know. I would have to look more into it.
I kind of just wish them peace.
This was you reacting to Francesca bringing up deportation camps.
You want to deal with people who want to put people in mass deportation camps. They want to deport.
You think we're going to get put in camps? You sound... All right, anyway.
You think I sound crazy? They're starting...
Hold on, just to be clear. That's the stated policy position of Donald Trump. Thank you. Yes, okay. God damn. I follow politics so... Bro, just... Before I was like a politics streamer or whatever, but like being a politics streamer for a year and a half... I don't know if it's the Vyvanse Limitless drug or just the fact that I follow politics more closely. In the past, when I would argue, I would usually have to specifically look up arguments for a position I would have or like historical examples of it. But now I feel like when I'm talking about a thing, I can just like rattle off like, what about this or this or this or this or this or this or this? I don't know if it's because this administration has been so much worse or just because I've been doing politics like full time, but that's good. Thank you. Okay. I had the wherewithal to understand this at the time. That's good. And I believe Abbott said as much, that we'll build the camps if you need us to hold. Hold on, let me find this. Was it Abbott? We'll build detention facilities. Oh, he did say that. Yeah, he did. Abbott did say that. We'll build them for you if you need it. Yep. Thank God. Okay.
Because it's been a long, long road with many skeletons in many closets. And honestly, I don't think they know where that road is going. And it's going to be really sad when they respond to this video or try to smear me as if there weren't so many other pressing things to talk about. But I just had to get it off my chest, explain to you what's going on, and tell you that I am the host of the Bitchuation Room podcast and also America Unhinged on Zateo. And you can also catch me doing live comedy, hopefully in a city near you.
Wow.
Until then, later.
Later. Drama. Somebody made a post on my subreddit. I don't think I read it yesterday, but I get the vibe that the person said. Although I don't know if I can quantify it, but somebody in my subreddit was making the complaint that he had a whole bunch of like conservative coworkers and stuff who are now like silent. Like they used to have political debates and stuff all the time, but now nobody really wants to debate anything. And I think it's kind of funny. And I bet that that's kind of happening in a lot of places because I know that we like to think conservatives are actually evil. Most of them probably just aren't very like politically plugged in. But if you are plugged in at all, bro, the recent shit is like, it's just indefensible. It's insane how crazy the conservative, how crazy Trump has been recently. It's indefensible. Yeah. True. Somebody just linked this. 1 year from now, I blame Biden. He should have done a better job explaining how Trump's policies were going to screw people like me. That's why I'm still MAGA. I've noticed that all my conservative friends are so quiet when I talk about politics nowadays. Before Trump's inauguration, we would regularly have these contentious conversations about current events. But now I can't even get them to engage with any of it. Like, for example, I was trying to talk to my friends about this recent Houthi group chat clusterfuck, which is obviously a massive deal, when you have the VP and our heads of security showing such monumental incompetence, and yet I couldn't get a peep out of him. Mind you, this was someone who I would constantly argue with about Trump and current events. Am I too online brain to the point of being off-putting what's happening? I feel like I'm objectively presenting facts, not ideologically framing anything, but then they go radio silent, so I just stop. Any idea why? I will say for this, probably maybe because he watches my stream, and we do have a bit of ideological capture here, he's probably not fully honestly representing the story. So like I've even been a little bit wrong on this, and that I keep saying that it was probably a violation of like national security stuff because these are probably classified. However, if you actually go through the classified stuff, I've had people email me this, the only stuff that they talk about when it comes to like attacks and stuff are war plans. And these were just attack plans. And a lot of us, I think, have gotten that wrong. So, you know, it might just be our partisanship there that's inhibiting our ability to read honestly what's going on. Don't you think April 2nd will be a potentially big wake-up call for all the people who don't follow any politics if he actually does the tariffs? I can't imagine the market not tanking. We'll find out. Oh, fuck. I thought this was going to be Dr. Mike, not Dr. Mike.
He's not necessarily...
Ooh, this will still be interesting, though. Let me use the restroom 1 sec. We officially had negative GDP this quarter. Is it official yet? I don't know when, like, the fiscal quarter is end, if it's actually, like, these first 3 months of the year or something. The fact that we went from whatever we had for the last quarter of Biden to if we actually end up getting a GDP contraction, it just, for no reason. For literally no reason. Like, Trump is breaking all the rules because it was supposed to be you just write off the goodness of the last admin and take credit for it. But now he's like managing to destroy the goodness. Like, why? What the fuck? I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't think it's finalized yet. So let me use the restroom. Hold on 1 sec. It's currently all memes at the moment, but how accurate or possible is all of the actions of the Trump admin is tracking on the Third Reich? And do you think some fear like this is warranted? There are things that map on that are kind of bad, but I don't think all the conditions are the same. But there's a lot of stuff that's not good. Oh, apparently, Short Fat Otaku hosted us. I love you, buddy. When I talk to the true rightoids, they are explicitly clear. They simply want to break and burn everything out of sense of spite and revenge. They view Trump as too far left for them. Yeah, I know there are crazy people like, but I'm thinking of like the people on the outer perimeter, like towards like the center, like not, which I think are actually most MAGA. I don't think most MAGA are like the hardcore people you see online.